This is CNN Breaking News.
Breaking news, protests spreading after Donald Trump pulls off one of the most stunning upset victories in American history. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. Real estate mogul, reality TV star, and now president-elect. How Donald Trump did it when even a lot of Republicans thought it was impossible. Plus, he's promised to make America great again. He has promised to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it, ban Muslims from entering this country, at least temporarily, and put Hillary Clinton in jail. How much of that will actually be on his agenda? Let's get straight now to what's happening now. Our breaking news, CNN's Jason Carroll, Gene Casares outside the Trump Tower right here in New York, and CNN's Ryan Young at anti-Trump protests in Chicago tonight. Paul Verkaman joins us from Los Angeles. Gene Casares, I want to get to you first. You are with the protesters in New York right now. Tell us what's going on.
Well, let me tell you where we are. We're right on 5th Avenue at 56th Street, and I think you can see behind me Trump Tower. But everyone is still here. They're a little quieter than they were. They'll break out in chanting, mainly against Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not my president. They're also chanting a lot of vulgarities against Donald Trump, vulgarities against Mike Pence, vulgarities against Rudy Giuliani. Seeing signs mainly about Donald Trump, also seen a sign, several of them, that said America has never been great. These people walked from Union Square. We walked with them 40 blocks to here, and this is where they've been for the last few hours. But they're just sort of staring at Trump Tower now, waiting to see if he will come out. We see different flags that they're waving. We've seen lots of things. We saw Abraham Lincoln a few minutes ago. We just saw Casper the ghost, the friendly ghost. So just so much. But I think the hallmark is that these people are protesting against Donald Trump being elected as the next president, the 45th president. And also this organization that really put this on, which is a Socialist Advantage, saying that the Democrats let them down, that if Bernie Sanders had been the nominee, that could have defeated Donald Trump, but the Democratic Party wasn't able to do it. So there's also that aspect to all of this, just a sort of a negativity about politics and the parties, and definitely who is to be our next president.
All right, Gene, stand by. I want to bring in Ryan Young now. There are big crowds in Chicago, too. What are you seeing there?
A huge crowd, Don. We actually just walked down State Street and came back around. We wanted to stand back this way so we can show you just the size of the crowd at this point as people hold up their signs. You can see the Trump Tower right here, one of the tallest buildings in Chicago. And then right below it, you have all these protesters who showed up. One of the reasons why we're also back here, they have a rap song that they're playing while they're walking that basically says F Donald Trump. And that's what they've been playing repeatedly over and over. We've seen a large group of people desperately coming out here. We're going to walk this direction just a little bit so we can show you the size of this crowd. Look, there was a few thousand people involved in this. This started around 5 o'clock and has been going on since then. This crowd continues to grow, and then sometimes it splits in half. People went down Lakeshore Drive, then they cut that off. The police got involved at one point, but everything has remained peaceful so far. There are some people, though, who don't agree with what's going on in terms of what's the protests. I just wanted to ask a real quick question. You said you don't mind that the people are protesting, but you're a little frustrated with how they're blocking the streets and what's going on. Tell me about how you feel about it.
They're blocking the streets, they're burning flags, they're standing on buses, they're writing swear words all over buses. It's not helping. This is not helping. I wanted Hillary to win more than anybody. And to stand out here and to not have a call to action and not be specific, that's why we're here where we are now, because we haven't been talking about policy, because we haven't been being specific, because we've been talking about things that don't matter, things that about personality, not policy. And there needs to be a call to action. And I need Hillary to stand up right now and walk in and sue the United States of America and say, back when black people couldn't vote, right? How many years ago your vote would have been 1/3? Guess what? Today it still is. Today, right now, it still is.
So you don't feel like this was a fair election, because it looks like Donald Trump won fair and square.
How did he win fair and square? Hillary had more votes. More human beings voted for Hillary. This isn't fair. We didn't get one vote. You didn't get a vote. It's just like back in the day when your vote was 1/3.
So the Electoral College, you're somebody who wants to blow that up. You want to get rid of the Electoral College.
Just count the votes. It's ridiculous. Hillary, you're a lawyer. Walk in, Go to the Supreme Court. I believe in you, Hillary. I've been to Rwanda. I've been to your hospital in Rwanda. I've seen all the good you've done. I believe in you. Women need you. Minorities need you. I need you. Chicago needs you. We all need you. This country needs you to stand up and walk into the Supreme Court and say one vote equals one vote. What's wrong with that? What's the debate?
You can definitely feel his passion. There's other people out here who feel the same way.
Don't burn the
At one
flag.
point, you had people who were blocking this road. Chicago police moved in. Everything has remained peaceful. And like I said, Don, as you see, thousands of people still continue to gather. But like you heard this man, very passionate about the idea. He doesn't want Hillary to stop.
Yeah, Ryan, you know I used to live there, and I know that guy. That's John Gurkovic. He actually went to Africa with me as a cameraman. But anyway, that's another story. All right, thank you, John. Thank you very much, Ryan. I want to get back to Jason. Jason, you have been covering the Trump team tonight. These protests are right in front of Trump Tower. Are they saying anything about this tonight?
We haven't heard anything from the Trump campaign so far, but as I said earlier, Don, tomorrow's another day, and perhaps we will hear something about the protests we're seeing in front of Trump Tower. A number of these protesters still here on Fifth Avenue between 56th and 57th Street. For the most part throughout the night, the protests have been peaceful. We saw one man taken into custody, arrested just a short time ago. There were some reports of some folks throwing water bottles as well. But again, for the most part, the number of people who are out here, and Don, they numbered by the thousands at one point here at the intersection of 5th Avenue and 57th Street. I want to bring in one of those protesters right now. Her name is Katie. Katie, we were talking a little bit earlier about why you decided to join these people out here tonight.
I'm joining because I was a Hillary supporter. I canvassed yesterday, but mostly because I think that the way he ran and what happened with Comey and other things like that, I just don't think he's an appropriate leader for our country. He doesn't represent us, and he scares me. As a woman, frankly, he scares me.
But clearly he does represent a significant number of people in this country.
I think he represents a point of view of a significant number of people, because as like a businessman.
And what do you think that point of view is?
Unfortunately, I think it's racist. I think it's a bit uneducated, but not by the fault of those people. But I think that he wants sort of like an archaic state of mind, because like that has to do with ideals that aren't really our own. That's of one group that's not really the greater America any longer.
He did say yesterday that what he wants to do now is represent people of all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all cultures going forward, and wants to try to unite this country. But as we look at the scene behind you here, a number of people who still clearly feel upset about the outcome. Yeah. Is that something you think he can accomplish?
I don't. I mean, he said no one respects women more than him. No one does anything more than him. Everything he said hasn't been true. So I don't think he's suddenly going to unite us, especially when so many people feel disenfranchised. And this is one of many protests across the city, and many that are planned.
Many more planned, you said.
Yeah. And even like what's unfortunate is, the police there was a man who was drunk, and everyone there was begging him not to, and pushing people. And who was a black man, and we were begging him not to, because we didn't want that to become the focus, and we were scared that if he got arrested, something would happen to him. So we're living in a country where it's so deep-rooted that I don't think someone like Trump can fix stuff like that. I really don't.
All right. Well, Katie, I want to thank you very much for coming to join us. Thank you. Appreciate that. Donna, obviously, a number of people who are out here on the streets tonight, not just in New York City, but in places like Chicago and Los Angeles, some deep feelings of resentment about what happened. But you heard from the president-elect. He has said that what he wants to do is to try to unify this country. You heard from Hillary Clinton as well, who said that what she wants people to do is to respect this president going forward. But clearly still a lot of anger still existing out here in the streets tonight.
All right, stand by, Jason. I want to get to Paul Verkaman now in Los Angeles tonight. Paul, what's happening there?
Well, Don, the march that started from City Hall is now winding through the streets of Los Angeles. At least 1,000 people are involved. And earlier, they brought out a huge papier-mâché Trump head. The Trump piñata had been sort of popular throughout California, as many people were taking their frustrations out of these Trump piñatas, and they set it on fire. And now you can hear people chanting behind me, singing, "All we're saying is give peace a chance." Many Californians, Don, that did not vote for Donald Trump sort of feel that this was not their choice, and now they're stuck with it. And a whole lot of people at this protest, many Latino, are saying they now fear that relatives could be deported. Here's Lily. Lily, your sign tonight says,
our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. If we don't fight, who's going to fight for us? People had to die for the freedom where we're at today. We can't just do rallies. We have to fight back. There will be casualties on both sides. There will be, because people have to die to make a change in this world. But Trump, enough with your racism. Stop splitting families. Don't split my family.
And you're fearful that you're going to lose friends and relatives to deport?
Yeah, a lot. Friends, family, even all races. Not just my Hispanic culture, but the rest of the races. Don't take away our rights. You know, impeach Donald Trump. That's what he needs to get, is impeached.
All right, Paul. Paul,
well, as you can hear,
Paul,
Don,
thank
that's some of the sentiments here.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. No one should be advocating violence. I want to make that very clear. But thanks to all of our correspondents out there. And I want to bring in Ahmed Khanna, an organizer for Socialist Alternative. He joins me now by phone, and he's in Oakland, California. Hello to you, Ahmed. Listen, you helped organize a rally there. Tell us what the goals are behind these protests that we're seeing around the country tonight.
Yes, so Socialist Alternative, which is a national organization, our branches in Berkeley and Oakland in California, initiated and helped organize these protests. The goal is, it's basically people are furious, not just at, the results of the election last night, obviously, but the rhetoric of Donald Trump, which has been completely appalling and hateful, and also there's a strong sense of fury at the Democratic Party, which many people feel sort of facilitated Donald Trump's victory. So I think in general there's really a feeling of profound anger. Yes, the protests are very peaceful at the same time. So the goal is just to raise awareness that there are these millions of people and tens of millions of people who are simply fed up with the status quo.
Ahmed, Nicholas Kristof from the New York Times was just on, and he just made the point that his side lost, and we need to give the new president a chance and be right there if he does something wrong from this point forward. Do you see his point?
Do I see a point? I think that, well, Nicholas Kristof, has his own views, and I don't know the full context of where he's coming from, but I would say that I personally I can't speak for all the protesters here. I cannot speak for all the organizers. There are thousands of people here in downtown Oakland, but I can speak for myself and Socialist Alternative. We will not stop protesting either of the two major parties, actually, but certainly we will not stand by and watch Donald Trump continue to sort of purvey scandalous racist tropes about Latinos, African Americans, his Islamophobia, his homophobia, his misogyny. And so I think that this is the beginning of people moving more into activism, more into unrest and dissatisfaction. So in a way, I totally disagree with what, as you represented Kristof's comments, which seem to believe that the fundamental process of these elections is somehow legitimate in many ways. So,
Ahmed, what could the president-elect do to say to make you feel more comfortable with him being in the White House?
By speaking for myself or on behalf of my organization?
You can speak for yourself or on behalf of your organization.
Okay, so on behalf of myself, there's really nothing that Donald Trump could ever say that could make me feel more comfortable. I think that my feeling, and that is the feeling also of Socialist Alternative, is that we will, there is no common ground between Donald Trump and what we stand for, which is independence of the two parties and also resistance to the appalling racism and all the things I just talked about. That Donald Trump has been more than willing to traffic in throughout this entire election cycle.
And for your organization?
For my organization, I would say that's the position of my organization as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you very much.
We are taking a live look right now at protests happening in Portland, Oregon. These are the anti-Trump protests. Our sister station KGW reports that these protesters began at about 5 o'clock today. Some of them are Black Lives Matter protesters, some are Not My President protesters, and they have gone back and forth, shutting down parts of the freeway a couple of times tonight. This has been a loud protest, a boisterous protest, but so far a peaceful protest in Portland.
Yeah, let's move now to Oakland if we can. There we are. These are images that you're looking at live from Oakland, where you can see first responders are at the scene here. We are told that a fire has started somewhere in the general vicinity of that street that you were just seeing. Now, again, people around the nation, many cities around the nation, have been protesting Donald Trump's election as president, and it's been going on here. Protests have been happening right here in Seattle. We want to join in progress right now Lori Matsukawa and also John Langler.
They're moving.
All right, we have been talking, John Langler and I have been talking with some of the protesters who are there in the University District in Red Square right now. These protesters that he is about to talk to have been marching all evening. They started in Westlake, went up Capitol Hill, across the U District, down to the freeway, and they're now back at Red Square. John Langler, you have some people there that you want us to hear. Let's hear from them, John.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out the crowd is leaving, so I'm not entirely sure where they're going. I guess we'll find out once we finish talking to these three folks here who've been marching right the way along from Westlake. I guess first of all, what brings you out?
Passion for the people. I just want to stand up for the next generation because I feel like we're left to rights. We don't feel like we have a voice. We don't feel like anyone cares. They think that they can do anything and they can't. Social media and word of mouth, things got done today.
The vote was yesterday, election night. What was your reaction when the results came in and Mr. Trump was elected?
Mostly fear. Fear for friends, fear for family, fear for the people who don't have as much of a voice as we do, and fear for the people who aren't as privileged as we are to not feel as unsafe. Just the idea that somebody with the moral values that Mr. Trump has as president and as a leader of our country is really scary. And it hasn't evoked so many people are going to come out here and they're willing to strongly, and they care that much, and they care this much about people who know we care about what happens.
The results of the election are clear. I'm wondering, how does a group like this, for example, the 1,000 or so that's been marching, how do you reconcile with people that voted for Mr. Trump? How does a group, a nation come together?
Definitely, I agree with respecting everyone's vote. I try to look at it from a natural perspective that both Hillary and Trump are equal, and that when we choose to elect someone that is there, we should respect that. What we can do here is stand up for what we believe in, and I believe that if we do it correctly, no violence, send the right message to the public, anything's possible if we all unite together and do what we can do.
And what does it say to all of you just to see how many people have been out? I know they're leaving now, so the square looks empty, but to see all the people that have been marching through Seattle all night.
It's really beautiful. It's incredible to see how much everybody pulled together. Like, we were talking, we're all really united in this, and everybody stuck together throughout the whole thing, and everybody put so much effort into it, and it's just awestruck. Like, it gives you awestruck. It's inspiring.
We make connections tonight. We talked to probably dozens of people. We've seen so much tonight. I feel like we've seen so freaking much tonight.
It is beautiful. And it leaves you with a lot of hope for basically future things can be done.
Stay one. This is what's happening.
Well, I'll let you go stick together with the rest since everyone's left the square. Thanks for your time, guys. And we're going to go catch up with them as well and see where they're marching.
Exactly.
And we'll throw it back to you in the studio, just a sample of what we've been hearing all night.
Okay, John Langler at Red Square. Go ahead and follow the crowd. If you can see this video from Sky King, you can see there is still a sizable crowd. This is the crowd that is leaving Red Square at the University of Washington campus and heading back west toward I-5. We will keep our eyes on this group as it moves peacefully through Seattle. They have been moving peacefully pretty much all night. Their issue is not at all with Seattle police. Seattle police are just letting them have their space, stopping traffic so that they can get through intersections safely. Even the motorists who are stopping by, honking their horns in solidarity. It's been an incredible evening to watch unfold. Back to you in the studio.
Lori and John, thank you both so much. And as we leave you with these images, you can see people continuing to march. They're very passionate. They want their voices to be heard. Very tense moments here in our city, in our nation, really. And we're joined now at the table by meteorologist Perella Lewis. Perella, put us at ease. Today was a beautiful day. It looked nice. I saw the sun, too.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day, a record-breaking day again for the third day in a row, and tomorrow is going to be pretty good as well. So